They lied to you. Side hustles will never make you rich. Think about it. If hustling harder was the answer, then every Uber driver, every freelance writer, every drop shipper would be a millionaire. But they're not. And maybe that's you right now. Juggling gigs, stacking income streams, working nights, weekends, thinking, man, if I just grind hard enough, eventually I'll be free. But what if I told you that's the reason why most people are stuck? Because the people who actually make money, the people who actually build wealth, they don't hustle harder, they build systems. Look, side hustles are great in theory. Make some extra money, work on your own terms, be your own boss. But there's a trap that no one tells you about. Side hustles are just more jobs. Stacking hustles equals stacking jobs. You're still trading your time for money. Your income is still limited by your hours. If you stop working, the money stops. You're not building wealth. You're just signing up for more work. You didn't escape the 9 to 5. You just built a 24/7. Tell me if this sounds familiar. You work your main job, then clock into your side hustle at night. You sacrifice weekends, your free time, your energy, and every month you're still stressing about the bills, wondering, why am I not any closer to financial freedom? Well, see, we've been sold this idea that working more equals earning more, that stacking income streams equals financial security. But let me ask this, when was the last time you ever saw a millionaire grinding a side hustle? They don't do that because the rich don't trade their time for money, they trade systems for money. So if side hustles aren't the answer, then what is? Well, you need a shift from being a hustler to a business owner. Instead of chasing quick cash, start asking, how do I build something that'll run without me? And today I'm going to show you exactly what that looks like. How you can make the shift from being a side hustle to a scalable business system that actually sets you free. Because that's what we all want at the end of the day, right? We didn't become a business owner so that we can work 24/7. You need to do that in the beginning. You need to be able to put in those hours and put in the time. But eventually the goal of having a business is that it works without you. Not that you have to continually work to make money. That's just another job. Like I said, you didn't escape the 9 to 5. You just created a 24/7. So in this video, we're going to show you how you can start transitioning your business into a business that'll run without you. From a side hustle into an actual business. Because if your business can't run without you, you do not have a business. So let's figure out exactly how you can have an actual business by the end of this video. So let's break this down, right? The first thing you need to understand is what is the actual hustle trap, right? So many people will teach you online that, oh, you need to have 10 different income streams. You need to have all this money coming in. But if you don't have a way to systematize it and take yourself out of the business, then at the end of the day, 10 different income streams means 10 different jobs. So let's go through it, right? This is, in the simplest form, the hustle trap, right? It starts with you get a new idea for a side hustle, right? You watch a video on YouTube of some dude that just made 10 grand a month doing XYZ, right? You have a new idea, or you see somebody performing and you want to hop in, right? So then you go immediately to learning a new skill or a platform, right? Because you don't immediately know how to do the actual job, so you need to learn the new skill. So you spend time and effort, and you usually do it, after work hours or at night or on the weekends. So you spend all this time learning the new skill. Then you finally get the chance to actually make money from this skill. But you're still trading your time for money because at the end of the day, skills are very, very important. You need to be able to acquire skills. But at the end of the day, skills is a service and you provide, your skill for money. That is when you're an individual, like a freelancer, right? So now you're at the point of you're manually trading your time for money. So you say, hey, this job takes me an hour. I charge X amount for this job. Now you work and you make money. And it's a good feeling, right? Making money on a freelance job. I've worked freelance jobs in the past and, they're fun. But there's always a moment in time that something happens. And it's burnout, right? And burnout is a very interesting concept. I think if you're passionate about something, truly passionate about it, burnout doesn't hit. But when you are working, a regular job and then you spend all your nights and all your weekends and you're manually trading your time, you don't have any time to really think and process and step back and reflect about your life and your business. That's when burnout hits. You just don't have any more energy because you're spending all this time to try to acquire money, but at the end of the day, at some moment in time, you're going to hit burnout, right? And then once you hit burnout, you start getting doubt in your head and you're like, man, this doesn't work. I've only made, a couple $1,000 this month and I'm spending all this time. And then you see something else or another idea and you're like, man, this is going to work way better. Look for another side hustle. So now you start looking for more ideas, which is still time, right? Now it's time that you're trading for no money and you keep looking for this other side hustle. And then you get the idea for the side hustle and you're like, man, this is going to be it. This is going to be awesome. You learn the new skill, you trade the time, you make the money, you hit burnout, you get all tired, you look for another side hustle, and you're just in this infinite loop. And the sad part of it is it's an absolute roller coaster of emotions, right? When you get a new idea, regardless if it's for a business or a way to make money or whatever, you get excited. Then you're learning the skill, you feel empowered. You're like, man, I'm learning a skill, I'm bettering myself. Then you're making money, which always feels good. Now you're like, man, I'm making money, this is awesome. And then you realize how much work it actually is. You get tired, you have a week go by and you get 3 hours of sleep in the entire week. You miss your regiments, you are slowing down on work. Then you're like, man, this is not worth all the effort I'm doing. So now you're all sad and you're angry and you're like, man, I just wasted all this time. Then you look for another side hustle, you get the idea, and it's just this roller coaster. And this is what keeps people broke, right? This is why most people will never reach the big echelons of business, because they're stuck in this hustle trap, right? So now we have to understand, now that you understand the hustle trap, now you have to understand the actual business systems, right? So now we go into the actual business system flow. And it starts with an offer, right? You hear this all the time from literally any business owner alive, is you have to have an offer. And it has to be a good offer, right? And then you need an acquisition system. You need to figure out some way to drive traffic, whether that's through content or ads or SEO or word of mouth, or maybe you have connections in a certain niche. You need to have an acquisition system. But an acquisition system will also create burnout if you're manually doing everything. So you need an actual system. Because if you have a system to acquire customers, you never have to always look for customers and they start coming to you. And it doesn't happen instantly. It's something that takes time to really build, but if you can build a high quality acquisition system, you'll make money forever. Then you actually have to have the conversion system, which is, all these systems are equally as important. A conversion system is actually what gets them to purchase, right? The acquisition system gets them to be aware and interested in you. The conversion system actually gets them to purchase. So, whether the acquisition system, say you post a piece of content to get a free ebook. The ebook has a drip sequence on an email, and then the email converts them. That's your conversion system. But you want to make sure that you're automating these processes as well, or else you're going to have to manually reach out, and then you're back in the hustle trap of changing time for money. Then you have to have a delivery system. So a delivery system, whether it's a physical product or a digital product or a service, you have to figure out a way to deliver it. Right? Because if you put all the effort, which I see a lot of business owners do, they put all their effort into their acquisition and their conversion system, and then they get customers and they leave bad reviews. You get bad word of mouth. You don't get any compound on the word of mouth, and your whole business is gone in a year anyway. Most people make the biggest mistake by not focusing on the delivery system. This is where I focus almost all of my effort on. The second system is where I focus all of my effort on, is delivery system and a retention system, right? Your retention system is what keeps people coming back to buy, right? If you run a service, let's say you run a roofing company. Well, the roof isn't going to last forever. It doesn't matter if you're the best roofer in the world. At some moment in time, it's going to, break again. They're going to need a new roof. But if you didn't have a good delivery system, you weren't on time, you were talking back, you didn't have good customer service, are they going to call you again? Probably not. Same thing if you run a software company, or if you're in financial services, whatever industry you're in, having good customer service, having a good delivery system and retention keeps people coming back. And now you can start stacking customers, right? Because if they're always going to come back to you, two things happen. One, you make more money. You have an increased LTV. Number two, they're going to refer other people. Because what if someone else's roof is bad? If you didn't give good service, they're going to go try to find another one. But if you gave the best service in the world, and their friend comes up to them, hey, dude, my roof, like, you had a good roof. Who'd you use? Then they call you, right? Retention and delivery is absolutely key in order to build a system that'll generate wealth forever. So how can you actually do this, right? It starts with leverage. And I'm going to put a link down below for another video I filmed all about leverage, the 3 types of leverage you need in your business, how to start building it and mapping it out in your business. So make sure to watch that video down below. It's a great video if you want to learn more about leverage, because that is the first step, right? Leverage is everything. You can't be doing $10 an hour jobs if you want to be making hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? You have to learn how to delegate and automate and utilize different tools and softwares in order to decrease your overhead and increase the amount of time that you have. So like I said, you don't need 10 tools or a massive team. You just need one simple business engine that runs without you, right? And it does take more time to set up in the front end, right? If you want something to run forever, it's going to take more time. If you want a car to run for 100,000 miles, but you spend 10 minutes building the engine, it's probably not going to run for 100,000 miles, right? So you want to be putting in a lot of effort up front, but it makes money forever. So like I said, you don't need 10 different tools. You don't need to be spending 4 or 5 grand a month like I used to do on all these different platforms and have a massive team. You just need to master one simple system. And this is a very brief overview, right? I'm not going to go in detail. We do have other videos on the channel going in detail of actually building out something like this, but it's a pretty simple concept. You need a traffic source. You need some way to gather attention for your business. You need a content funnel, so 1 to 2 platforms. This is also in the traffic source. You need to be posting content, but you can choose. I wouldn't recommend choosing all 8 platforms and start posting. You're going to get burnt out, especially if you've never done social media before. Choose one platform, choose 2 platforms, and consistently post. Number 3, you need an offer page. You need some place to showcase what you're offering to the masses. Whether that's a digital product or a service, it doesn't matter. You need an offer page, a landing page. Then you need a simple email follow-up. So you need to have an opt-in form so you can gather information, a simple email follow-up to keep them engaged, and then you need your payment, automation, and delivery. So you need a payment processor, you need an automation, you need delivery, and then you need retention, right? So these are all very simple to set up, especially if you utilize the right tools. We utilize a great software that we use for all of our businesses that takes all of this and puts it into one. So make sure to really do your research on different softwares and platforms before you start going to subscribe to 10, 15 different fragmented tools that aren't going to do the job. But this is a basic overview of what you need to set up in your business. So let's review, right? The difference between side hustles and business systems. The hustler or the CEO. Side hustles are time bound, right? You're exchanging your time for money. Business systems are automated. You build systems and processes to automate your growth. Side hustles are manual, right? It's usually a one-person team. It's a freelancer. You're always exchanging your time for money. You're the main point of contact and everything, which is not scalable. Because maybe in 20, 30 years, they'll figure out how to clone people. But as of right now, you cannot clone yourself. And if you can't clone yourself, you can't grow a side hustle. Business systems are scalable, right? Because at the end of the day, if you have a system that runs, you can add as much traffic as you want. Now it's just a game of attention, right? If you have the systems to convert and to actually deliver and to increase retention, now it's just a game of attention, right? Side hustles are usually more stressful because everything is on you. If your business doesn't succeed, it's on you. If you don't make enough money, it's on you. And it's kind of the same way as a CEO, right? Everything should rely on you in terms of like the stress. I believe in absolute accountability across the board. So, making sure that everything works, it's still stressful, right? None of these are easy, but the easy route is never what's going to make you the biggest money. But business systems are delegated, right? If you have a system that runs and you build training and SOPs around it, you can train anybody to run a system. You can't train everybody on how to, custom code an entire website or, edit a video to the quality you can. But if you have a system that does it for you and you delegate someone to run that system, it's a lot easier to do. Side hustles, you can't sell, right? I mean, maybe you could possibly sell it if someone's willing to buy it, but 99.9% of the time, you can't sell a side hustle because you'd be selling yourself, right? You can't sell something that, doesn't have good margins, is only relying on one person. We sold a company, a year and a half ago, and I can tell you one thing for certain. Investors, all they really care about is, can this run without you? Because at the end of the day, if you're selling your company, there's usually contingencies. You have to work there for a couple years after, do the migration, whatever. But at the end of the day, you're exiting the business. You're leaving the business. So if you leave, is the business going to sell or is it going to fail? Side hustles, you can't do that. Business systems are an extremely valuable asset, right? If you have, let's do a comparison, right? If you have an agency versus a freelancer, let's just say it's website development, right? If you're a website developer freelancer, you can make good money. I think any idea you can make about 10 grand a month, but you can make good money as a freelancer. But at the end of the day, you couldn't sell that. But if you run an agency and you have people building the websites and you're doing the acquisition, you have all the systems. Now, on average, and value is an illusion, someone has to pay it, but on average, agencies can sell for about a 6 to 7 multiple, right? So if you build $1 million business, depending on your EBITDA and all that stuff, we're not going into that, you could hypothetically sell it for about 6-7 million. You couldn't do that as a freelancer, right? So having a business system is extremely valuable. And the other way is, this is how you build multiple income streams, right? Because if you have 10 side hustles that you're doing, there's literally not enough time in the day to actually grow. And there's not enough time in the day to actually run all 10. But if you have, 10 businesses that are all systematized, automated, delegated, you could run as many as you want. That's why you see these big venture capitalists or private equity guys, they have hundreds of businesses in their portfolio. Now, they're not spending 10 hours a day on every business. They're maybe spending 1 because they know how to build systems and they implement it and have the business run for themselves. And that's where you make the biggest money, right? So that's the comparison. That's the 2 things you have to realize, especially if you want to go down the entrepreneur route. It's not for everybody. You have to understand these 2 things because most people, when they start out, they're going to be trapped here. I was the same way. I was trapped in having a lot of side hustles, and I was really good at what I did, but it was stressful and it was painful. And if a customer, falls off, it's all on me. A business system, once I learned how that actually operates, saves so much time. You can run multiple businesses. You can have different projects. You can do so many more things if you learn automation and you learn leverage. So once again, if you want to learn more about leverage, we have a great video. I'll link it in the caption down below. So make sure to watch that video. It'll explain the 3 types of leverage you need in your business. But I hope you found this informative. Like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video. Cheers.